The fastest way to tell something was written by AI is the moment it sounds perfect. Perfect grammar, perfect structure, perfect clarity, and somehow completely lifeless. You've seen it. The email that reads like a brochure, the script that feels like a school report, the caption that sounds like it's trying too hard to be helpful. Nothing is wrong, but your brain instantly flags it as not human. Then you do the thing that defeats the whole point of using AI. You start editing. You polish it, you trim it, you try to inject personality, and somehow you've spent longer fixing the output than it would have taken to write it yourself. So here's the promise of this video. You're not going to learn how to become a better editor. You're going to learn how to make AI sound human before it ever produces the first draft. That's the shift. Because the real reason AI sounds robotic is not that it can't write like a person. It's that you're asking it to write without giving it the human decisions that happen before writing. Most people prompt AI like a vending machine. They type, write a script about X. They expect something usable to fall out. And the output usually has the same vibe: safe, generic, overly polished, and weirdly optimistic. That's not because AI is bad, it's because you skip the part where a human writer decides the voice, the audience, the tension, the rhythm, and the point of view. You asked for the final answer without giving it the foundation. If you want AI to sound human, you have to stop prompting for writing and start prompting for voice and intent. Think of it like directing an actor. If you just say, read this line, you'll get something flat. But if you say, you're tired, you're slightly annoyed, you're trying not to show it, and you're talking to a friend, the exact same line comes alive. AI works the same way. It needs direction. So, step one is not write the script. Step one is define the voice. You tell AI who it's pretending to be, not a job title, a vibe, a personality, a pace. For this channel, it's toolbox energy, practical, straightforward, a little playful, no corporate fluff, no motivational speech tone. It should sound like a real person who has tested something, found what works, and is now telling you exactly what to do next without making it dramatic. Here's the key: you don't describe the voice with adjectives only, you describe it with rules. You tell AI how the sentences should behave: short sentences mixed with occasional longer ones, some fragments, some punchy lines, no in today's world, no unlock the power of, no let's dive in, no as we explore, no furthermore. You're essentially removing the default AI training wheels language, because that default language is what triggers the I wrote this feeling. It's not the topic, it's the cadence, it's the polite transitions, it's the constant clarity that never sounds like someone thinking out loud. Humans aren't perfectly structured all the time. Humans emphasize, humans repeat a word for effect, humans pause, humans change sentence length, humans choose slightly imperfect phrasing because it feels natural. So after voice comes step two: guardrails. Guardrails are the fastest way to humanize AI because they remove the patterns that scream template. This isn't about being negative, it's about being specific. You tell I what not to do, no cliches, no exaggerated claims, no game changer language, no fake confidence, no sweeping statements like, everyone is doing this wrong. If you want the writing to feel honest, you have to ban the fake certainty. This is where your results start to feel like you. Because humans have preferences, humans have pet peeves, humans avoid certain phrases because they've heard them too many times. When you give AI those preferences, it stops sounding like a general purpose assistant and starts sounding like a specific creator. Now, step three is the part that makes everything click. You make I plan the thinking before it writes. This is where most people lose patience, but it's the reason good writers get good output. You ask AI questions like, what is the one thing this video needs to change in the viewer's mind? What false belief are we correcting? What is the viewer currently doing that creates the problem? What does the viewer want instead? And what is the simplest path from A to B? Because if you don't answer those questions, AI will. And when AI answers them, it usually defaults to generic advice that could fit any channel. That's why the output feels like it was written for everyone, which is another way of saying it was written for no one. So you force specificity. You say, the viewer is tired of editing AI outputs. The pain is wasted time and cringe tone. The solution is a repeatable workflow that produces human sounding drafts fast. The payoff is saving hours without sounding robotic. That's the spine. Once the spine is clear, writing becomes easier. Now, here's the move that instantly improves the draft. You ask for a rough draft, not a final draft. If you ask AI for a final version, it tries to be perfect. And perfection is what makes it sound unnatural. It over explains, it summarizes constantly, it adds transitions that feel like a textbook, it avoids edge, it avoids silence, it avoids punch. But if you ask for a rough draft, something changes. The writing loosens up, the rhythm becomes more human, the sentences vary more naturally. You get something that feels like a person talking instead of a corporation publishing. Then you do the step that most people don't even know exists, the humanization pass. This is where you stop trying to fix the draft yourself and instead tell AI how to rewrite it with human rhythm. You ask it to shorten long sentences, remove repeated patterns, cut filler transitions, and add cadence variation. You tell it to prefer plain language over formal language. You ask for a few intentional fragments. You ask it to keep the meaning, but change the feel. And here's why that works. A, I can recognize its own patterns better than you can. It can see where it used the same sentence shape 5 times in a row. It can see where it defaulted to generic phrasing. It can see the parts that sound like a help article. When you give it permission to change the tone, it can correct itself fast. But you have to be specific about what human means. If you simply say, make it more human, you'll get something vague. If you say, make it sound like a real person talking to a friend with shorter sentences, fewer transitions, and occasional imperfect phrasing, you'll get a real transformation. The biggest lever here is rhythm. Rhythm is the difference between sounds human and sounds generated. AI often writes in a consistent sentence length, consistent clarity, consistent structure. Humans don't. Humans speed up, slow down, punch a point, then add a longer explanation. Humans use a short line to land an idea. Humans repeat a word for emphasis. Humans ask a question. Humans answer it. Humans let a sentence be slightly messy because it feels alive. So your goal isn't more casual, your goal is more rhythmic. The easiest way to force rhythm is to literally instruct it. Vary sentence length on purpose. Include some short punchlines. Add 1 or 2 rhetorical questions. Use a few sentence fragments where it fits. Don't use the same transition twice. Don't start every paragraph the same way. Those are rhythm rules, and they work. There's one more trick that makes a huge difference. Tell AI to write as if it will be read aloud, not as if it will be scanned. If you write for the ear, you naturally avoid robotic structure. You choose simpler phrasing, you add pauses, you land points, you keep momentum. And because your videos are narrated, this matters a lot. A script that looks fine on a screen can sound horrible out loud. When you force AI to write for audio, it becomes more natural immediately. Now, to make this practical, here's the toolbox way to think about it. You're building a reusable setup. You don't want to reinvent this every time, so you create a short voice card you can paste at the top of any prompt. It includes your voice target, your banned phrases, your pacing rules, and your audience. Then you create a short humanization pass, prompt you can run after any draft. That's it. 2 pieces you reuse forever. When you do this, the work shifts from editing to directing. You stop fighting the output and start shaping it, and the time savings become real because the first draft is closer, the second pass is cleaner, and you're not doing 80% of the work manually. This is also why some people swear AI writing is amazing and other people swear it's unusable. They're not using the same process. One person is asking for an instant final draft and then judging it. The other person is guiding the voice first, writing rough and running a humanization pass. Same tool, completely different result. And here's the part that's kind of funny. The more you treat I like a dumb writing machine, the more it sounds like one. The more you treat it like a collaborator that needs direction, the more it starts sounding like you. That's the real lesson. I can sound human, but it won't guess your humanity correctly unless you define it. So if you take one thing from this video, take this. Stop asking AI to write and start asking it to sound like. Sound like a real person. Sound like your channel. Sound like your audience. Sound like the way you actually talk. When you do that, the edits drop dramatically. You don't need to edit forever. You need to set the voice once and then reuse it. That's the toolbox move.